This episode of the Bar Star Podcast is proudly brought to you by Louisville Music Studios, located at 4220 Trio Avenue in Louisville, Kentucky. Zip code is 40219, and the phone number for booking is 502-693-7462. Louisville Music Studios is awesome. That is where my home base is for my new secret project. And they have been amazing. The staff is amazing. David Payne has worked on a really, really cool concept and brought it to life. And he is constantly making changes over there. It's an awesome place. You guys need to go check it out because not only is it an awesome place, but they're giving away something for free. David and I had a conversation and he decided to extend our offer with a 2-hour minimum. If you call that number for booking to book some rehearsal time, you will get your first hour for free. Free shit. Who doesn't like free shit? We're musicians. Most of us are broke. So check them out. If you have not checked out Louisville Music Studios yet, you need to. Like I've said before, you can go in and rehearse for a couple hours. You can rehearse for an afternoon. You can set up a monthly rental so you can have a home base to work on, I don't know, secret projects, whatever you want to. So Louisville Music Studios is awesome. You need to go check them out. Staff is amazing. The gear is amazing. The room is amazing. I love them. They love me. And everything is just sunshine and fucking puppies. Oh yeah. Enjoy this episode of the show.
The Bar Star Podcast is a show full of stories, opinions, and sarcasm. Hosted by a working musician based in Louisville, Kentucky. Wait a second. This guy knows he's a drummer, right? Not an actual musician? Why would anybody want to... Never mind.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Bar Star Podcast. I am your host, Stephen O'Reilly. I want to thank you guys once again for coming back to hang out with my dumbass. I appreciate it. I don't know why you keep coming back. Maybe it's because you like me. You really, really like me. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody had a good week. And as always, I hope you guys went out and did some shit. Please take a moment to check out my sponsors, Prophecy Inc., located in the fabulous Highlands, and Louisville Music Studios, located at 4220 Trio Avenue. Go in the shop, mention this podcast, the Bar Star Podcast, and you will get 10% off your tattoo by any artist in the shop. And call the number for booking to Louisville Music Studios, and with a 2-hour minimum, you will get your first hour of rehearsal time for free. Also, take a minute to go to my website and buy all my t-shirts that are taking up too much space in my garage. You guys are not hearing me on this. I need to get rid of those fucking things. They're in my damn way. And while you're there, make sure you use the link or the front door or the back door if you're into that kind of shit, and go to Amazon. It just helps me out a little bit because Amazon gives me a smidge of a kickback. And when I say a smidge, that's really, really tiny. To help fund this show, or in this case, as I said a couple weeks ago, to help promote my tour or pay for the tour or whatever, because I got to go buy some shit. Imagine that, a drummer that needs to buy gear. Anyway, that's all that garbage out of the way. I'm really excited about today's episode. It is with my Sabian rep, even though technically on paper he's not my Sabian rep because they divided up all the territories. But he will always be my Sabian rep, and he is also my friend, and he is a one Mr. Bob Rupp. Bob lives in Colorado, and he has a very cool story. He's done a lot of things. And we talk about his illness, which I actually did not plan on talking about. He brought it up. He's comfortable with it, and that's his thing. But we did talk about his years in the business and all the just the cool shit that he's done over the years, and all of his as I call him, his famous drummer friends that he doesn't share with me. Whatever, Bob. I see how you are. But we have a really cool conversation. He's got a really cool story of all the shit that he's done in the industry of instruments. I mean, in the music industry, of course, but in the industry of retail and instruments and drums specifically and especially, I mean, Bob bleeds, shits, eats, breathes, sleeps drums. It's awesome. Whereas he calls them, they're just round things that take up space. But Bob's awesome. He was cool enough to give me some time this afternoon. Well, it's this afternoon to me. I don't know when you guys are listening to this. Hopefully on post day, which is Thursday. Which brings me to another point. Squirrel. Look at that. Squirrel, I just saw it. Ooh, shiny. You guys are amazing. But in case you don't know, you can get this show on any platform or any app that carries podcasts. Just FY&I. iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, which is my home. I'm apparently on Podcast Addict. I'm on Castbox, iHeartRadio. You name it, you can pretty much find me. Or find this show, which I guess the show is more important than finding me. Don't come after me. It's just, I'm really not that cool. That was really lame. I really am that cool. But still, don't fucking come after me. Anyway, back to Bob. Bob has done a lot of things, and it was really cool of him to take the time to hang out with me. I got to go to Anaheim NAMM. You guys have heard me talk about it before, and that's where the whole Delana thing happened. But Bob was at the Sabian booth, and of course, Stacy and I hung out with him, and Stacy fell in love with him. She goes, I just love some Bob. It's not exactly how she said it, but it's close enough. But anyway, it was really cool of him to take the time to talk to me about the 40 plus years he's been in the drumming world, so to speak. He's just a wealth of knowledge. And be forewarned, kids, we do get a little nerdy. We geek out on some drum shit in this episode. So some of this might fly over your head if you're not a drummer. The drummers that do listen to this show, Ryan Murphy, you're going to fucking love it because we get all techie and geeky. It's great. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, as usual, tuning in like I'm a fucking radio show. I am just shitting the bed with this open. Anyway, thank you guys for downloads and the subscriptions and for the streams and the reviews and the ratings. Keep them coming. It feeds my ego. I need that shit because I'm getting old and the youth are taking over and they just pop out of the womb with a fucking ego the size of Texas. It's great. But keep that coming. But I hope you guys dig this episode. I had a lot of fun. Bob is an awesome, awesome human being. I know I say that a lot, but I tend to try to surround myself with awesome human beings. So you will dig this. He is responsible for me being a Sabian artist. And for those of you that don't know, that means I am endorsed by Sabian cymbals. That's why I will not play anything other than Sabian cymbals. And I love them. And it is all thanks to Bob. Bob took me under his wing, showed me the ins and outs of cymbals and cymbal making, and I am so glad that he did, and it is part of my sound now thanks to him. So without any further rambling from the face hole that I own, here is my conversation with the one and only, my buddy, Mr. Bob Rupp.
Shit. Hold on. Let me turn my phone off. God help me. Hold on.
It's off. I already hung up on you.
Good. Well, I know, but it'll ring.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm a kind of a popular guy, you know, so people call me all that.
You are popular. And you're damn cute.
Yeah, well, okay, is that better? Look, right there. Let me take these off. We don't need these. How do I look? Good?
You look fantastic.
My new Sabian logo?
I know. I love the new logo. I like what Rick posted, too. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, so whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
I am ready. First of all, how are you, my friend? How's things in Colorado?
Are you talking about my medical issues?
No, not unless you want to. I was just asking you how you were.
I don't mind talking about it. Yeah, I'm great. Healthiest sick guy you'll ever meet. I'm great, man. I'm down to 145, you know. I hired a personal trainer.
Nice.
Be moving and shaking and grooving, you know.
That's so you can keep playing.
We'll do this really quick, and then we won't go back to it. I got diagnosed with stage 4 carcinoma cancer in November 2011.
Right.
Sorry, 2015. And so I had 4 years in it. I've been the highs and the lows. I've gone through all that. I'm still in chemo every 3 weeks. The radiation made my head look like yours.
I know, right?
I know. And finally, my hair started growing back. So I'm doing it very well. My hair is about 2 inches long, which is unheard of. And I met you long, I think. And
It was long when we first met. Yep.
a very big struggle I've had to go through, but I'm not afraid of death. Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. So I live my life as normal. I had 10 brain tumors and multiple cancers throughout my body, and I'm doing great. So
Nice.
It's a beautiful thing.
Well, you look good, and you looked great at NAMM when I saw you.
That's because you dig me, baby.
I do dig you, but we can't talk about that too much because then people think something's going on. They'll get kind of weird.
Yeah, a little odd.
So I'm not going to take up too much of your time because I know it's your day off, and I appreciate you doing this for me. But you have a cool story. You and I have a cool story, how we even met. But you have done a quadrillion things in your life. There has been no grass that has grown under your feet, my friend,
I
forgot amazing.
A lot of it, but yeah, it's been crazy, man. I got out of college in '75 with 2 degrees, one in public relations and one in advertising.
Nice.
And I said, screw that. I'm going to play drums in Los Angeles. And so I went from Pennsylvania, and I stopped off a brief stop in Michigan to meet a guy who wanted to start a rock band and said he had a record label, which was all bullshit. So I decided to head to LA, and I had very little money at that time because you're like 21, you don't have anything.
Right.
And I stayed with friends all over the country, and my car threw a rod in Denver, and I had one friend in Denver that I knew, and back in the old days, you had to look their name up in the yellow pages or the white pages.
Yep.
And lo and behold, right there, he was in the white pages. So I called him, got my car nursed over there very slowly, and that's where it all started, And then, years later, I toured for many years and all over the country with many rock bands, and then I started my drum shop in January of 1984. That was a fluke. I had worked for a company called Dragon Drums, which was we made octobons, clear octobons. Mm-hmm. And then we had gotten a load from Keller shells of disfigured shells. They were crackled, the lacquer cracked. So they sold us like 500 shells. But here's a bunch of young guys. We have drilling machines, we have burying machines, we have all that. But the crackled shells, we couldn't do anything about that. That's why we got them so that company dissolved, and the family that loaned all the money to the company just called me up one day and said, "Do you want all these shells?" And I said, "Okay." They just gave me all the shells for free, all the machines for free, and lo and behold,
shit.
I'm in the drum business. This was like 1983, and I had like a air hockey machine, air hockey table in my backyard in a shed, and so I ran some power back there, and that became my workbench.
Nice.
It was perfectly flat, so you could roll finishes, and then I had the edger, varying age guide. I'd do varying edges on shells, and so I became known as the guy that can work on drums. But then I was selling these like 5-piece single-headed maple kits for $500 for Christmas.
Nice.
So that's where I got my start, and then I got my license in January, and then just went forward, man. I was in my house with a bunch of roommates. It's crazy, and we had all these bands practicing in there, and then my shop was in the back, and then in the back of the living room, and so I was only open Saturdays and Sundays, by appointment only. So the rest
you were super custom before custom was cool.
You kidding me, man? So people had to make an appointment with me to see me, and when they came in, I had these shades I had bought, and I'd pull my shades up, and there'd be like my little stupid 5-piece kits I was selling, and as many used kits as I could find, And so it was kind of all over the place. It was very unique. And I never thought I would make it. But then it got bigger and bigger, and I moved into a 400 square foot spot, then an 800 square foot spot, and 1,600, then 2,400 square foot spot. And then I moved into a house that was renovated to retail. And that's where
Nice.
the store is still there today.
Now you called it Rupp's Drums because it was there forever. I used to see Rupp's Drums in Modern Drummer magazine all the time when I was a kid.
That was great. And see, but before that, I was a journalist, a rock journalist for one of the local papers. And also, I was a television host for a late night TV show in Denver, cable TV, or excuse me, public TV, called Teletunes. And I was the on-air music host. And that was 5 nights a week. I was brought to you right into your living room. Hey, everybody, it's Bob. And so between that and the writing career that I had, I was kind of known in the area already.
Right.
And then when I opened the drum shop, it sort of exploded. And that went for 20 years. Did really well, won all the awards you can win in the drum business, met everybody in the world. Because back then, there wasn't like the internet, there wasn't any of that stuff.
Right.
Where bands had to rely on local advertising, radio, and flyers and shit like that.
Right.
And so I would get a hold of the band, seeing they come through. I would get a hold of the drummers and say, look, why don't you guys come by Rupp's? You don't know me, but come by Rupp's, we'll hang out.
Right.
And those relationships from that day still hold on till today.
Well, that's one of the things you were telling me at NAMM when we were hanging out, even though we weren't hanging too close because it was such a fucking zoo. But
Right.
You were telling me that all the people you would see somebody walk by and you go, oh, man, I've known that guy for 40 years. And I think that's awesome because there's not many of those relationships left, if
You're
that
right.
makes any
The
sense.
deal was, back then, people wanted to go to drum clinics.
Right.
Drummers wanted to come into your store and meet famous drummers.
Right.
So I brought in guys like Shulman. No one ever heard of Mark Shulman. Virgil Donati. Obviously, everybody knew who Carmine was, so I brought in Carmine all the time. But anybody I could get my hands on that were driving through Denver, they could pull up in the parking lot. We had bus parking. The band could stay there and sleep. Drummer come in and shop, hang out, and then those relationships still go today. And now we're into that. Remember that time where we do all that shit now.
Oh yeah.
But those were fantastic days.
Well, it's funny because thanks to you, I met Carmen at NAMM in this past January.
You're right.
Which was awesome because I was standing there and you looked at me and you went, "Would you like to meet Carmen?" I said, "Yes, Bob, yes, I would."
Yes, Daddy.
Yes, Daddy, I would like to do that.
He was the first rock star I met. I was a journalist, and the paper sent me out to review the show. It was Carmine and Rick Derringer, Tim Bogart, and that was it, the three of them. And they did a show at the Rainbow Music Hall, which is now defunct. That was a huge, famous hall in Denver.
Right.
And so I got to the show. I went backstage to the trailers, and I walked up to Carmine, and I said, "You don't know me, but I'm Bob Rupp, and I'm a big fan." And so I interviewed him. I knew everything about his career up to there, everything. And so when I walked out the door and there was the other journalists for the competing newspapers there, they would walk up to Carmine and Carmine said, "Go talk to Bob. He knows more about my career than I do." And so we became such close friends, and he used to stay at my house when he came to Denver. And his fourth wife, I was a very close friend of mine from Denver, so I was kind of involved with her, knowing her very well and them, and it was just great, And that's when he was like really. He had all these great new bands, that were coming out from the zone, and but he's still out there, man. That guy's still slugging. Now he left Sabian a few years ago to go to Istanbul, and I was designated to call him by Robert Zilton. Said call Carmine, find out what's going on, and Carmine just wasn't happy with this anymore. That's okay. I mean, people leave. He's still my friend. And then he called me last year and he said, "Look, I want to come back." I said, "Fine." So we arranged it with me and Chris Stanke, our artist relations guy, and our president, Andy Zildjian. We arranged for him and his brother to come back, and everybody's happy,
Nice. No, that's really cool because I keep up with the industry halfway. I should probably keep up with it more. And for those of you that don't know, I am a Sabian artist. We'll talk about that in a second. But
I got you away from Feisty.
you did, and we will dive into that, sir, because that is. I tell many people that, but I don't keep up with the industry like I should. But it was one of those things when Carmen left Sabian, I went, what the hell? Why? Because my ride is the Carmen signature ride. Carmine. Is it Carmine? Okay, sorry.
Okay. That's right.
So my ride is the Carmine signature ride, and I love that ride. And my first thought was, shit, something happens to that ride, I can't get another one.
Well, we can always make you one, you know.
But he came back, which was cool.
Yeah, it was great. He called me, like we've always been good friends, like dare I say, very close friends. And Vinny as well, his younger brother Vinny and I are great friends.
Right.
So when Carmine had called me and told me, you know, was I upset? No, because people want to leave, they can leave. Robert Zildjian, the boss at the time, was really upset because he loved Carmine. So Carmine had told me over the phone, and then I was playing a gig in Ventura, California with my band. My band was called the Mighty 18-Wheeler at that time. We live in Denver.
Right.
So we got this gig at Ventura Fairgrounds. It was kind of like a 90s throwback gig. And we were kind of that. We were kind of hard rock, but kind of glam. And it was like all these headline acts. The names escape me right now, but a bunch of acts in that era.
Right.
And so I was setting my drums up. It was a rental, backline kit. So I'm setting them all up and tuning them up and hanging my own. So I brought my own cymbals. And my phone rings, and it's Vinny at the gates. And they didn't know who he was. They didn't know who Black Sabbath was. We're talking young people here, Right. And so I said, Vinny, you've heard of contacting me, right? Before. He goes, I'm out here. So I had to get off the phone, run out to the front, get him in, run back up, sit down, and count 4 and go. Vinny, you're in Black Sabbath. You understand guest lists.
You know how these things work, man. What is it?
That was so funny because even the promoter kid that was putting it on, he didn't know who Black Sabbath was. He was young. He was in his 20s. I'm like, This guy's Black Sabbath. Who?
Right, so that's so sad.
We hung out.
So
we had a great time. We hung out. He'd never really seen me play, so I made sure I brought the show.
Nice. Well, it was a long time before I saw you play, and I still haven't seen it in person. I've just got to see it through videos.
Yeah, the videos you see are from 1990s and stuff. I haven't posted anything. Well, maybe recently, my band last year, we did a 700-seat show that was sold out, and someone shot a video. We didn't.
Right.
Everything that I put up right now on Facebook is stuff that people send me from the audience because I'm not carrying around a video camera.
Right. No, and I get that. When did you? I don't want to say start playing, but when did you figure out that drums were your thing?
February 14th, 1964, Beatles, Ed Sullivan.
Ah, all right.
Whatever the date was, maybe it was the 19th, but Beatles and Ed Sullivan were shockingly good for that era.
Right.
Shockingly. And no one my age, I was probably 7, something like that, 7 years old when that hit. And like many boys my age, Shulman will talk about this. All the other drummers talk about this. That was, I call it the lightning strike. Everybody has a lightning strike in their life that makes them go a different direction. That was
absolutely.
My lightning strike that hit the ground and blew me up, and I'm going to be a drummer. So nice. I started taking drum lessons at school, basic, paradiddles and all that. And at 10 years old, I got my first kit.
Nice.
And let me say to your listeners right now, young or old, there is nobody more important to the music scene than the Beatles because they laid the groundwork for what we all walk on today.
I would agree with that.
They changed the world overnight, and all manufacturers like Ludwig, Slingerland, Rogers, Zildjian, Fender, Gibson, Epiphone, everybody had to go work overtime to produce instruments for all the young people that wanted to buy drums, guitars, cymbals, whatever it was, basses.
Right.
So that's when the whole world changed. 1964. I've talked to Ludwig many times about this because I'm friends with the old man before he died, and
Right.
he would tell me like the day after orders started coming in for the Ringo kit, and what the hell's that? They had no idea what it was. Ringo just happened to make sure that Ludwig head was still on the front head and put the Beatles under it, and and that finished the Oyster Black Pearl. Man, that was like unbelievably popular. I've got two of those kits upstairs, and so that was it for me and a billion other boys out there, and women too, and girls too as well, that they wanted to play, and that was it. I made it through school with honors. I always had a band. Even when I was 10, I had a little band in my basement.
Nice.
And I graduated college. I went to school for a percussion degree, but then I realized that with a percussion degree, you're going to be teaching school again. I didn't want to do that. That program. And I played drums in all the local bands in that area of northern Pennsylvania at the time, and had some success. We had some regional single, whatever. And then when I moved out here, I had nothing, didn't know anybody, Denver. Then I hooked up. I used to just go to the clubs where all the musicians were, hooked up, and became the drummer in all these local bands. And some of them had done really well,
Nice. Very cool. So when you, and I'm trying to remember this because you had told me this before, you sold Rupp's drums and got out of it, and that's when you went to work for Sabian, correct? Or am I wrong on that?
Yeah, in a roundabout way. Rupp's drums was really successful. First off, it was giant.
Right.
And we were one of the biggest ones in the country. I had a really good business plan that, every customer buys something. You don't turn a customer away.
Right.
And back then, there was some competition, but when the 6 guitar centers opened around me, then I felt the loss of peripherals, sticks, heads, cymbals. I forgot. I lost all that. So my numbers down. So and then I got audited by the IRS in 2002. The IRS just came in out of nowhere and did the full onslaught audit of my books, everything. And luckily, I kept receipts for everything. I kept receipts for all the gig money I made, the $100 in the weekend, whatever it was. I wrote all that off. So they couldn't beat me. It took 13 months of my life to produce every piece of paper that they wanted, and I did. And finally, after 13 months, I said, you've got to take me to court because I'm not going to do this anymore. You can't touch me. Legally, I was set up where they couldn't touch me anymore. I had a really good attorney.
Right.
And, said, you can't touch me, and, I'll see you in court. Then they settled. They settled because they knew they couldn't win in court.
Well, what did they come after you for in the first place?
Well, they thought I was hiding $180,000, but they didn't figure that there's a thing called state sales tax, and $180,000 was the sales tax I had generated in that year, whatever it was, the 2001 year, that had gone right to the Denver government.
Right.
So we got all the way down to like that. Well, you still have this. I said, that's the fucking sales tax. What's wrong with you? Did you look at the forms? And they said, oh, yeah, you're right. We're sorry.
Oh,
it's crazy, man.
Wow.
They went after everything, man. I had sold a motorcycle one year. And where'd this money come from? The motorcycle sale. It's in the books there. So I got fed up and thought, well, if this is what it means to be retail in America and a place I love, I'm not going to do this anymore. I want to go to work for a company that takes the taxes out and gives me a good salary. So I took about a year and a half off, I think, about that. I just kind of wanted to chill,
Right.
And then I decided it's time to get back to work. And so there was only 3 companies I wanted to work for. DW, because they make like the best drums. Beautiful drums,
Oh, absolutely.
DW, there's 4. DW, Ludwig, Vickfirth, and Sabian. That's the brands I play.
Right.
So I have DW kits, I have Ludwig kits, Ludwig snares, DW snares. That's all I play. So I decided it's time to get back to work. So I met up with Chris Lombardi from DW in New York City. I had moved to New England for a while. I bought a house on the ocean. and Chris Lombardi was going to be in New York. So I went down and met with Chris Lombardi, one of my closest friends.
Right.
He owns DW.
Yep.
And so I've known Chris since he was just 17 years old. And I said, dude, I really want to work for you. He goes, I don't have a place for you. What am I going to do? I said, I don't know. Hire me. I'll do something. He goes, I don't have a room right now on the roster. And
hire me. I'll do something. Anything.
Yeah, right. And then Vic first said, I don't have room for you. I've already got Marco. Do you know Marco? Marco Ciccoli?
I don't know him personally. I've heard that name.
The crazy Italian guy, kind of like me a little bit. And he goes, I've already got one Marco. What am I going to do with two Marcos? I said, okay. But then I started, since I was living near Sabian in Maine, I was meeting with Andy Zildjian constantly, and then Dan Barker, who was our president, and Bob Zildjian lived right up like 2 or 3 miles up the road from me, where I bought a house in Maine. So Bob would come down and have drinks at my house. Vic first would come up. It was just a very magical moment. But they didn't have anything for me. So I said, screw it. The winters in Maine were brutal. I couldn't stand them. So I sold the house, made a few bucks, and decided to come back to Denver. So on the way back from Maine to Denver, driving back, Sabian calls me and says, we have a job for you.
No shit.
I'm like, oh, dudes, I just left Maine, man. I'm going home.
Yeah.
And it was an East Coast rep job, which I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm gone. So I'm going back to Denver. Then I was like, what the hell am I going to do? So Sabian called again. No, I went to work for KMC, Command Music.
Yep.
Went to work for Command as the Gibraltar Rack Factory Specialist.
Nice.
And, I had to design racks and put racks together and I did a whole tour of me on the road doing racks for stores. And I developed this one rack, which I called the Lowrider. Today it's called the Stealth.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
I spent hours on that in my living room, cutting pipes and putting all that together. And I don't own the rights to it because they work for me and whatever. But I put this thing together that was just like off the ground. You couldn't see any cymbal stands. All the cymbals came up like trees. Everything was low and nice. And I said,
you did that?
I said, this is called the Lowrider. And they said, we love it, but we're going to change the name to Stealth. And I said, I don't care. And all I got out of that was a free Lowrider rack. But I worked for the company, and they owned everything I did put together. And that was okay. But then Sabian, Andy Zildjian saw the work I was doing, because when you leave retail to go into, not wholesale, but manufacturing for a big vendor, whatever it is, it's a whole different world. And you have to really adjust to what they're doing. And so a lot of guys don't do it. A lot of guys, they try and they fail. Because I'm a workaholic, I'm sort of a go, optimistic guy. I went right into Sabian with guns blaring, man. And they're like, shit, this is wonderful. So Andy hired me to be a key account manager initially, which meant I handled Guitar Center.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was moved into a Midwest account manager, which was where I met you.
Yep.
Right? And then they moved me into where I'm at now, which is a product and training specialist.
Gotcha.
That's what I do now. I go all over the country and train on the product, train on the history, train on the differences between us and all the other brands, and then do trade shows, the NAMM show and Chicago Drum Show. All those drum shows I do with my own booth.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's because you're the man, and you are a workaholic. I've noticed that about you.
Right before I got sick, Sabian had put me into this category of product and training specialist.
Right.
Which meant it took a lot of pressure off me because I was handling Guitar Center again. Mm-hmm. And that's a big account. It's a lot of work. And so I was in and out. I'm still in and out of the hospital. That's a daily thing. But it was I couldn't do my job properly and then go to the hospital or vice versa.
Right.
So I'm better place for me right now. It's just great.
Nice. Well, when you met me, it was during the Sabian Vault Tour, and I don't even remember the year because it was a long time ago because I hadn't been up here that long. at the time. I mean, I've been in Louisville for 12 years now, but when we met, I want to say it was 10 years ago, maybe.
I mean, that's very likely 10 years ago. Yeah, I can't remember dates sometimes. It's because my brain is fried, you know.
Right. Well, my date memory is horrible. Not because my brain's fried. I'm just kind of dumb.
Well, I was going to bring that up later, but now we've gotten through that, so we'll get beyond that.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Steve, see, we're doing this great Sabian event at the store. What was the name of the store again?
Mom's Music.
That's right, Mom's. I'm sorry. Yeah, Mom's.
Yep.
We had a Sabian day there. It was really good. And so Steve and I got to know each other. I think we had dinner a couple of times after that. And
we did.
You're like, I played Feisty. I'm like, why? Listen to cymbals over here. And I told you how Feisty was made. Feisty's more. I'm not knocking Feisty at all. They make a lot of great cymbals.
Oh, they do.
Some of the cymbals, like, I'm not going to say the brands, but some of them are more rigid and easy to fracture because of how they're made. Ours are all made, by us, and we melt the bronze and blah blah blah, make them. But they're kind of pressed cymbals,
right?
More like a machine shop. And so I was telling you, dude, get these and these and these, and you bought those, right?
I did.
Still play them, right?
I do. It's really cool because it was when you were there, you and I hit it off, and then I went home because you had seen my video that they had playing in the store at the time, and I went home and Ryan Murphy, the drum shop manager at the time, he texted me. He goes, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm on my couch." "Why?" He said, "We're all at dinner, and Bob Rupp wants to know where you are." And I went, I thought he was just being polite when he asked me to come. I didn't think he really wanted me to come to dinner.
No, man, that's dinner is probably the better hang in the afternoon. That's for sure.
Well, I know that now. but you were still cool, and you took me under your wing, and you taught me all about Sabian and the differences, and not that one's better or worse than the other, because it's not a pissing contest.
Everybody makes a great product.
Absolutely,
they have a great product.
It's not about a pissing contest at all.
No, we never look at it that way. We always give. Feisty makes the best sheet cymbals. We make the best cast cymbals. Mm-hmm. Because how we're all hand done. Everything we do is hand done. Yep. So that's how good it is. That's the quality of the cymbal speaks out. And we do custom work like this. I'm playing my Bob Rupp custom ride right here. It's called the Rupp Ride.
Nice.
You just hit it. So they designed this for me. I have this in hand hammered. I have it in AA. This is an AA. I have it in 24 HHX.
Whoa.
22 HHX. I mean, it's nuts. But
that's huge.
I have certain cymbals that Mark Love knows the sounds I like. And no matter what cymbal model they pull for me, they're all going to be consistent. Right. I like the three blind mice theory of tuning because I'm very sort of caveman. Three blind mice, da da da, yep. Da da da. My drums are the same way, da 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 da. It's simple. That way you can get any drum set you're behind, and as long as you know how to tune a drum set, right, you can make it sound like you instantly. You get behind a rental kit and you go, this sucks. Da, 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 da. Just get it tuned in, and you're going to sound like you. No,
that's true. I know a lot of guitar players talk about gear in their tone and their amp, and I have many friends that are like, man, the tone is in your fingers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool, but there's still a lot of truth in it. I mean, if you've got the wrong guitar or if you've got the wrong kit, you better know how to tune it. But the cool part about you not only taking me under your wing and teaching me about Sabian, obviously now that I am a Sabian artist, thank you again. It's yay! It is
one hand clapping.
The cool part is I like it a lot better. The adjustment period was weird because Feisty being so brittle, and everybody that knows me personally knows I hit hard. But Feisty being so brittle, it was when I switched, it was almost like I felt like I was playing through the cymbal, and it caused me to. Right. I mean through in a bad way though, like I was trying to destroy it.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I'm playing through it correctly, but it caused me to pull my hands back, and my dynamics got better when I switched to Sabian.
Thank you. Well, here's what happens with your ear, and this means drums, guitars, cymbals, basses. Your ear gets attuned to a certain sound that defines you. Okay, with pipes, I found my sound. These are my cymbals. And then every time you hit another cymbal, unconsciously, you're comparing it to the sound on your kit.
Yep.
And that's guitars, basses, and everything. So for me, I have a sound. I have all my drums sound exactly like me. They don't sound like Ringo or John or Ray or Todd or anybody. My drums sound like me. And I don't want to sound like somebody else. So I pitch my drums, no matter what kit it is, they all have a big, a nice. No, I like the pitch deep. You notice there's no high toms on me. I like low throaty, so that's me. All my cymbals are pitched that way as well, and so my cymbals and drums are pitched almost identically. But that just comes from having a good ear and being in the business for a long time. But if you go, anybody out there that's listening to this, if you change cymbals or upgrade, they are going to sound different to you.
Absolutely.
Your ears have gotten used to that sound, whether it's a B8X or a low end minor or whatever it is. Your ears are used to that. Now, as you grow as a performer or a drummer, you start hearing better because you know what to listen for now. And with drums, as your drums get better, different woods will shape that tone for you.
Yep.
I believe in maple. Some guys believe in mahogany. Whatever, I don't care. But for me, I can pitch a maple drum set exactly to sound like me. And you need the right heads too.
Right.
No,
it depends on what rig it is. But most of the time I go to the EC2s, Evans EC2s, and then on all my kick drums, it doesn't matter because I've got 5 rigs. I sold 3 or 4 of them, but they all have the I'm having a brain fart. The EMAD 2 on all my kick drums.
Let me explain to you something about the heads.
Yes.
And I'm going to teach you something here, young man.
Teach me, old sir.
Yeah, right. Okay. What's happened over the years is that a lot of drummers, I'm not saying you, but a lot of drummers have no idea how to tune and tension their drums.
Right.
So I'm old school. I'm from the 70s, whatever, grew up in then. Back in those days, those great, phenomenal drum sounds you heard on records that people are trying to recreate today were just drummers going into the studio and pitching their drums to proper notes that worked within the studio confinement.
Yep, they were tuning their rigs.
Yeah, and so meaning they would tuning to the mics in the room or ambient sound. John Bonham was all about ambient sound. So was Ringo, ambient sound. So I started studying that years ago, and what I have learned, and this is just me, it's not you, it's not anybody else. For me, I like no bass drum muffling at all. That way you get the full sound of the shell.
Yep.
When you put a muffling head on the batter side or the front head, mostly the batter, you lose the sound of the drum because you spent all this money on a beautiful shell, and then you put a lot of muffling on the bass drum head. Well, you lose a lot of that tone. So my drums, no muffling, power stroke free Remo on batter and front.
Yep.
It's a little hole in the front to let the air out. So I don't put any pillows, none of that stuff on my drums, because you get the real ambient sound between the heads and the shell. I don't know what that sounds like to you, but back here it sounds great. All my bass drums sound like that. I have Ludwig kits here. I have other stuff. They all sound like that. Then my toms are pitched properly where the heads are almost in parallel tuning. I use emperors, almost in parallel. And then I tighten the bottom head up with just a smidge. You get that decaying sound that dies off quickly. I don't know if this is in tune. Pretty close. So that's tuning. People need to really study tuning because that's the relationship between the heads and the wood and you.
Oh, I agree completely. When I was teaching, that was one of the things I used to harp on my kids about. And I learned how to tune almost quicker than I learned how to play, weirdly. But and I don't run anything in my kick drums at all. And all my kick drums are 24s except one of them, because I like a big kick. But the reason I went to the EMAT 2, yeah, exactly. The reason I went to the EMAT 2 is I kick ridiculously hard. And I found that no matter what combination of head I used, because I won't put a pillow or anything in my kick drums, no matter what combination of head I used, there was that annoying bong. It was almost so low that nobody else would hear it, but I heard it and it drove me batshit. And then when the EMAT 2s came out, I tried one. I said, all right, I'm going to try this, and I'll use the thinnest little styrofoam ring they have in it, and I was hooked ever since because it got rid of that tiny bong sound.
What do you have on the batter side?
On the batter side of my kick, EMAT 2. On the front, it depends.
I'm sorry, the resonant side.
The resonant is usually what is it? The EQ3, I think. I think it's the middle thickness. It's an EQ3. But on my Gretsch rig, which you've seen pictures of my pretty Gretsch rig, on that rig I put even though I'm not a Remo guy, again, there's nothing wrong with them, but I put the Remo calfskin because it looks really good against that blue oyster. But that head was a little bit thin, so I did cheat a little, and I put a smidge of muffling against that head just to get away from that bongy sound.
Here's what I'd recommend: get the Evans version of the Power Stroke, and just try that. Get it to the Evans version of the Remo Power Stroke.
Okay, I'll look for it.
I don't know what that's called. One of my best friends that lives right here in my neighborhood works for Evans. So
nice.
We're always I'm a Remo player, but I have played Evans. I think they're great. I don't knock them, but get the Evans version of the Power Stroke, and just for afternoon, put that on, take the EMAT off and put that on, and just get it tensioned right to your front head, and see what you think. You might be surprised.
I'll definitely check it out because I switched to the EMAT 2 so long ago. I don't even know what else is out.
I mean, I did have some muffling years ago in some of my drums, but I was experimenting one day, and I just put Power Strokes on, and I cut a small hole because I want the air to get out, and plus I'm going to put a microphone in there. Yep. Man, it was like a huge difference. Like my band was like, "Oh my God, what's that?" I said, "A new head." And so I that's all I play. The Power Stroke 3 on the kicks, and then I use Emperors on the tops and Ambassadors on the bottoms.
Right. I've had really good luck with almost all the Evans stuff I've used, and I switched to Evans. I don't even remember when. It's been so long ago, and it was one of those things that I personally noticed. Evans out of the box sounds amazing. You stretch them for an hour or two, and you're good to go.
And
Remo's, and then they break.
Yeah.
And then the thing with Remo is, to me, out of the box, Remo sound like shit.
You're right.
A month later, they sound fantastic. But I think the reason I made the switch is because I hit so hard, and I don't hit as hard as I used to, but I still hit pretty damn hard. It was waiting that time for the Remos to settle and seat properly and to get that tone I wanted was driving me batshit, because I would go play and my drums would sound like garbage.
Yeah.
And it irritated me to no end. And somebody, again, I don't remember who it was or when it was, somebody said, "Hey man, have you tried Evans?" And I went, "What the hell are Evans?" I didn't even know, because when I was coming up, it was Remo. That was it. Remo, Siljan, or Paiste. That was it. It didn't even matter what the drums were. But
Chick Evans invented the hydraulic head years ago. That was a guy named Chick Evans. I knew him I think it was out of Kansas City or something. But he invented the hydraulic head.
The oil-filled hydraulics, the early ones.
And that was a big deal. I played him for a while. And then Diodario fought Evans, and I got him up to speed. So here's a great story. Exactly what you just said, I was going to say right now. Is
nice.
That I went on tour right before NAMM. I would tour with one of my rock bands and play all over the West Coast, end up at NAMM, leave NAMM, and play all the way back. Do like 20 dates or something. And
gotcha.
So I had always played Remo Emperors, and decided to try Evans. I used my Remo bass drums heads because I knew they sounded great.
Right.
I put all Evans heads with my drums. And right out of the gate, oh my God, they sounded good. I'm like, this is unbelievable.
Yep.
2 weeks into the tour, playing every night, they had just flattened. They were just gone.
Yep.
I'm not knocking Evans. I like Evans drum heads, but their elasticity was terrible, man. They just flattened, and I couldn't pitch them. So we were playing at NAMM. We were doing a show outside of NAMM, and I quickly put all my Remo heads back on my drum set. So great story. I was out one of those nights at NAMM with Dennis Chambers, who's an Evans artist, and I think it was one of the D'Addario brothers that runs it. I'm not sure which one it was. And we're having dinner with, I think Andy Zilzum was there, or somebody else was there, and I was talking to the guy. I said, look, I'm from Rupp's Drums. If maybe you don't know me, I'm from Rupp's Drums. I sell a lot of your drum heads. So on this tour, I took all my Remos off and put Evans on, the equal thing of Evans. I said for 2 weeks they sounded amazing, and they just flattened right out. They just went flat, and I couldn't pitch them again. He's, you know what he said? Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
Not a word?
He goes, oh, I'm sorry. And I went, this is one of your biggest retailers in the country telling you that this head just flattened out. And, he didn't say anything to me. So, all right, well, whatever. So we still continue to sell Evans, obviously, but I never put an Evans heads on my kit again after that.
Huh.
Never. Now, here's a professional drummer on tour selling their product, knowing about their product, and telling him what I found in the field.
Right.
What are you going to do?
Well, I have a slightly similar story, not as cool as yours, but the principle is the same. I played ProMark for almost 20 years.
Yeah,
I played you as well? Nice. Yep. Well, I played the natural because this is gross, but I'm a big sweaty bastard. Okay, I'm a medium-sized sweaty bastard. But anyway, I like the natural. I don't like the gloss finish. I don't like any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I played them, and then D'Addario bought ProMark a few years ago. And I went and, like I normally do at the beginning of the month, I went and bought a brick. I had a bunch of shows coming up. I was like, all right, cool. I'll just go buy a brick. One gig, I broke the entire brick. And I went, okay, I hit hard, but this is a little ridiculous. I got a bad batch, whatever. Went back, ordered another brick, had another gig like a week later, same thing. I broke almost the entire brick at the gig. So I started doing some research and figure out the D'Addario bought them and kind of redid all their tooling and remanufactured all the way they make all the sticks and stuff. So I switched to Vader because they were the only other company that made a nude model. Theirs is called the Nude. It's a natural. They don't have any gloss on it. So fast forward, I go to NAMM in Nashville and I go to the ProMark booth and I said, hey man, I don't know who it was. Couldn't tell you who it was. I said, hey man, this is what happened. What's the deal? Same exact thing. He looked at me and goes, oh, I'm sorry. We might have some of the old manufactured naturals back in our warehouse. And I was like, dude, seriously? That's what you're going to tell me? Like, I've probably paid the mortgage on at least one of your houses just because I've bought so many damn sticks over the years.
You're right.
And that's what you're going to tell me? So same principle. It was just, oh, I'm sorry. That's all he had. And it pissed me off.
I just switched to Vader. Here's my new Vader stick. It's got I don't know if you can see it, but it's got my logo on it.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Oh, wait a minute. I think they're upstairs. Anyway, so I was playing Vic Firth for almost 30 years, 25 years.
Right.
And I used to go golfing with Vic Firth and Bob Zildjian. And so Vic Firth, let me get it here. It sent me, I told him what kind of stick I wanted, and he sent this to me. It's basically a metal, Big Firth metal stick or whatever.
We used to call those the matchsticks because for years they were the Tommy Lee signature stick. I remember those.
They are. So, but it says Bob Rupp's Pups on it. So Vic and I were golfing one day.
Nice.
I brought my new girlfriend with me, who had, you know what I'm talking about. And so he goes, oh, damn, Rupp, those are some nice pups in that girl of yours. And so all of a sudden in the mail, I get like 2 bricks of this. And this has the red tip, but mine had the purple tip on it. Okay? A special custom purple tip. They had to take the tips and put them in Wells, some kind of grape juice dye, and come out purple. Anyway, beside the point. So I was playing these for years, and I still love them. They're long, they're 17-inch. When I grip properly, the stick does all the work. All I have to do is aim it,
Yeah.
control it. So when Zildjian bought Vic Firth, I was like, oh, damn. Because, I work for Sabian.
Yep.
And so when they started coming out with like the NAMM show logos, Zildjian, Vic Firth, I was like, you know what? I can't play these anymore because they're too aligned with my competition.
Fair enough.
I called, what's his name up at Zildjian? I forget his name. Paul. I'll remember his name. But I called him and said, look, I hate to be a drag, but I'm leaving. And because you're so aligned with Zildjian, I work for the competition, I can't do it. Now the rock star drummers that play, Zildjian sticks and Sabian cymbals, doesn't matter. But for me, I'm employed by Sabian. They pay my paycheck. So I started looking around, and I knew the Vader guys for years and years. I went over to see him. I said, look, I need a stick. I want 17 inches long, which is the 1A. I thinned it out. Mine were 2Bs.
Yep.
But the older I got, and because of my health conditions, it was harder to control 2B. So I went to like, it's probably a 5B or something. But I can't find, there's a great logo I designed for them, and they're on my sticks. I think they're upstairs. But that's what I went to, and I've been really happy. I haven't broken any of them. I used to break my Vicks, once a week I'd snap a snick.
Right.
These are great, but I'm not gigging as much as I used to, so I got to skew that into it as well.
Well, yeah, that definitely plays a factor in it. But believe it or not, because I don't even know if you know this, I play 5As. Wow. I know, right?
Those are like pencils, man. Fucking pencil.
That's what everybody tells me. Everybody goes, dude, as hard as you hit, why the hell do you play 5As? And it's simple. I can't do all that showboaty garbage that hooked you. Like, I can't do any of that stuff with a bigger stick.
Hey, hold on. My laptop battery's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Can you put this on pause and I'll go get my charger?
Actually, just let it run. If you got enough minutes to let it run, just let it run.
Okay, go ahead. Ask me the important stuff then.
No, dude, if you need to go get your charger, go get it. I'll wait. Okay. I'm not in a hurry. Seriously.
Okay, all right.
Shit, it doesn't even matter.
Sticks.
Yes, sticks. Look at you. Yeah, we were talking about sticks. Why you went to Vader because Zildjian bought Vic Firth.
Yeah, and nothing wrong with Zildjian sticks. Or Vic Firth sticks. I love them. That's all I play. I started playing ProMark, and I was in one of their ads in Modern Drummer back in 1987. They used to have local artists send pictures of themselves and playing the sticks.
Right.
And so I happened to be doing a sold-out show at the Rainbow Music Hall with General Public, who was Tears of a Clown, scoffing from the mod era.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
God, the name escapes me. But they were real popular. So I had this really cool, I had blonde hair at the time, and I had fucking rock face going on. And they took that picture and used it in the ad. So I was a ProMark player for a long time. But what I found out was I was playing the oak sticks. And I love ProMark, love them to death. They're all my friends. I was playing the oak sticks. And for me, the oak sticks were too hard.
Right.
They had very little give to them. And a stick, like a cymbal, like a head, needs give to it. And so that's when I went over to Vic. Started playing Vic for sticks, And now I'm with Vic here. I totally dig the Vader sticks. They've been great to me,
Now, is your Bob Rupp signature stick, is that going to be anybody can get it, or is that just exclusively
for
you?
With my logo on it. That's all it is.
Gotcha.
1A nylon. I play nylon too.
I do as well. We were talking about how you were kind of shocked, like everybody else, that I play a 5A.
In my book, that's called a pencil. Or a stir straw. Well, here's the deal.
I do drink a lot of coffee, so.
I think that, once again, I'm opinionated, but but I've been doing this forever, like 42 years in the industry, is that a smaller stick, if you're playing hard metal or whatever you're playing, you have to grip it pretty hard to keep control of the stick.
Right.
So I play hard too, I'm bam bam, but I barely touch my sticks and my fingers. I just make sure they're controlled.
Right.
Like this, or if you're playing traditional like that. I make sure that they're loose in my fingers so I don't get any blisters at all. And with the smaller stick, to speak volumes to your audience, you have to hold them tighter. A larger stick can do all the work for you, and you don't have to hold on to them too tight. Now and then I use a thing called Gorilla Snot if the stick is. Normally I'll shave the lacquer off the back of the stick.
Right. I had to do that. I went to get some sticks about 2 weeks ago, and they were out of the nude, so I just grabbed the Los Angeles 5A and sanded the backs of them off.
Yeah, so I used to do that. I don't do it too much anymore. I use a thing called Gorilla Snot. But, you can just play, and you can play all over the place between cymbals and do all these fancy tricks or whatever they are. And the stick does all the work because it's so long, I can just control it.
Right.
My wrists, my fingers, and my elbows, I can control it as opposed to using my arm, which you'll get exhausted doing that. So that's why I play a longer and bigger stick, only because it's easier for me to play.
Right.
This is just about me. Not if somebody else plays a 5A and plays metal, more power to you. I think you're going to wear yourself out. How high do you keep your cymbals up?
About my eye level. They're not very high at all. They're not very high at all.
Guys had these cymbals up like that, playing cymbals up here, whatever.
Oh yeah, 14 feet in the air.
Your arm gets tired, no matter what you're holding up there.
Oh
you're gonna tire your arm and restrict your proper blood flow. All these guys are all doing like this. They're wearing themselves out. Now, more power to them. They can do that. I can't do it. They can, great. But I keep everything within an arm's reach. That way I can get to it simply.
I do the same thing. It's one of the biggest reasons why I never play more than one rack tom. Because if I play more than one rack tom, I can't get my ride where I want it.
One.
Yep. I'll have 14 floor toms, but I'm only going to have one rack because that way I can put my ride right there.
I used to be 16, 18. And then after I kind of got older and when I got sick, I went to 14, 16. But you can tension these down. That's the 14. That's the 16. They sound fast.
Yep. Both of my rigs are 14, 16 floors. The two that have my Gretsch rig is a 14, 16, and my new rig that I'm getting painted for a tour I have coming up in June, which I'm going to tell you about in a second. I'm getting it repainted, and it's 14, 16 floors. I had a rig that had 16, 18, and I hated them. Because I couldn't get the 18 to sound good. Right,
that's the problem. First off, it's a heavy drum to carry, and I don't have a roadie. I don't know about you, but I don't have a roadie.
No, I don't.
And when I used the tour, it was just me, so I kept it real light. One rack. Generally, it was one floor on tour, just because of the room in the van.
Yeah.
Limited, but now it's two. But you can say a lot with two. If you can roar, you can get people's attention with two of them.
Oh, absolutely, you can, and especially if they're tuned right. Because my 14 doesn't sound like a 14.
Yeah,
it's low and boomy like yours is.
To me, that sounds great.
Oh, yeah.
Oh shit! To me, it sounds great.
Yeah.
All my drum kits sound the same. Now upstairs, I have a practice kit that is awesome. It's that. Did you see the Ludwig new Sonic kit at NAMM?
Was it the salmon colored one that you showed me?
That's mine. I bought
that
from the floor.
Yeah, that's the one you bought from the floor. I remember you telling me you bought it.
Yeah. So that bass drum sounded great. It had a Remo Power Stroke on it. Boy, it sounded good. But I wanted it for a practice kit. So upstairs I have a loft that's 2 stories up. That is sort of this is my man cave, and then upstairs is my man cave. Everything else is the wife house, And I took Remo, I think they're called silent sonic heads or mesh heads.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they call them. And
I can't remember the name, but I know what you're talking about. They're black, right?
No, the white heads. They're mesh.
I know. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Or something like that. And so they're mesh heads, and I have that on the kit upstairs, and I have the Sabian quiet tone cymbals, the ones that are very quiet.
Yep.
The stainless steel ones we made.
Yep.
All the holes drilled to keep it. And man, when I practice upstairs, I'm almost freer than practicing down here, because I can. My wife can be home. I can still play the drums. The heads have a killer rebound to them, and the cymbals, they just sound great. You know, stainless steel, awesome.
Now those quiet tones are cool. I was all in the Sabian booth at NAMM, and I got to see all that stuff. But I had saw them proper English there, pal. I had seen them somewhere. I don't remember if it was at Mom's or at Guitar Center before I even came to NAMM. I don't remember who had them, or somebody ordered them. I know that I saw them and I played them because I remember Zildjian had come out with theirs and Mom's had some, and then Sabian came out with theirs. I don't know who was first, and that's irrelevant, but I remember playing both of them, and I like the Sabians better.
Zildjian's really good at like taking what we make and making it themselves. Like, man, we come out with a product, and the next mine will too. They have the same product, you know, whatever. Beside the point. But Zildjian did make a great thing. That came out of their electronic drum foray they went into for a while there.
Gotcha.
Cymbals, and I forget the name of it, but those cymbals were great. But they are it's not a normal alloy. It might be a B8 or even a different alloy completely.
Right.
We made ours out of stainless steel.
Gotcha.
And stainless steel, you automatically think strong, and they're going to sound great and look great, and they do.
Yep.
I don't have one down here. They're all upstairs. But man, they sound great, and they're not loud. But they still have a beautiful tone to them.
Yep. No, they're definitely cool, and I like it that the acoustic side of drums is trying to do more to make better practice options, because the rubber pads suck. I hate them. Yeah. I've always hated them. I've hated them forever. Yeah. And everybody's like, well, you're doing the muscle memory. Yes, you are, and I get that, but still, there's a point where it needs to at least sound decent, like an actual drum set.
Well, go get one of those mesh heads. Evans makes them too. They make great ones as well. You know, and just put them on a tom or on a snare, and like you'll be astounded how. I'm not saying better you play, but you can hear what you're doing a little bit cleaner. Is that right? That has got like a lot of interference because the sounds are going everywhere. You go on the quiet tone head or the practice head, you can better distinction.
Right. Well, and it's cool to be able to clean stuff up, because ironically, you're talking about that. I've been focusing a lot on that lately, because when I was at NAMM, the day, because you left Saturday, you went home early, correct?
They told us to go home early. I was shocked.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Well, that Saturday thankfully I got to run into Seven Antonopoulos, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And he was very, very cool. He goes, you're a fan of mine? I said, yeah. And he looked at my badge and he said, well, we're brothers, right? And I said, well, yeah, of course I do, but you're still phenomenal, so I'm your fan. And he goes, okay, well, I'll be your fan too.
Kevin's one of the nicest guys, man. You know.
Oh, he was awesome. But when I was at NAMM, I ran into a singer that I've been a fan of for years. Her name's Delana. She was on Rockstar Supernova years ago, and she's done some stuff, and she lives in Europe. But long story short, and I already did a podcast about it. I'm going on tour with her in June. She actually, she hired me. So I've been doing all the research I've done, and all the wormholes and rabbit holes and all the music that I've dived into of her stuff and everything else. A lot of the drummers get close to what she has on her records, and Adrian Young from No Doubt played all her drum parts on her records.
Killer, man.
Yeah, killer drummer. But he's super, super clean. He's a very clean drummer. So I've been watching all these videos and stuff, and the guys that she's hired are phenomenal drummers. I'm not slamming on any of them, but they're playing Adrian's parts kind of sloppy. You know what I mean? So I've been working on cleaning up a lot of that stuff to make sure I play pretty much what Adrian played on the records.
Right.
So
Good.
I tell you all that so I can getting some of those heads for about the next month, because we don't leave until June. Getting those heads for about a month might actually do me some extra good, because I've already started cleaning up a lot of it.
Well, you'll be surprised. Now, I practice with my regular kit here. I got the DW kit here, and I got a Ludwig kit in the corner that's a different color, but the exact same size as this kit.
Right.
So I can get to my sound right away.
Right.
And so I do a lot of work down here on my kit, and then when I'm done, I go upstairs to my practice kit in my loft and continue on.
Oh, nice.
And continue on. So I'm trying to play an hour a day. I don't know if I do or not, but I'm trying to. But you sort of get the kinks out here and go upstairs. And then on the practice kit, man, you go, wow, I can do this now,
Yep.
Because it doesn't lie,
Well, that's definitely true. Whenever you get into the situation where you can hear everything clearly, and you're working on, in my case, for example, working on that cleanliness and being crisp and precise, and you can hear everything, you go, oh shit, that's not what's supposed to be played right there.
Right, you're right, man.
That's not what's going on. So I don't keep you too much longer. What's next for you? What do you got coming up? Where are you flying to? And the reason I ask where you're flying to is because I love the pictures of your stick bag in every damn airport. It makes me happy.
I know. Well, they cut my travel, all of our travel budgets back by a little bit of money. So I have to travel right, and I just can't go someplace that I'm not really needed. So I'm going to Chicago drum shows coming up. I'll be there, which is a spectacular event.
Very cool. It's one of my things that my next trips that I want to try to do, because I've never been to Anaheim. That was my first Anaheim, and now I want to go to the Chicago Drum Show because I see it every year.
It's spectacular. I always sell out the entire booth. Everybody knows me there. The Hollywood Drum Show, spectacular. There's a PASIC, the Percussive Art Society show, which is great because it's all just drummers. So there's a lot of shows all the year. That's my job to go to them. I don't travel to dealers as much anymore unless I'm requested to go in to train. So I train at Guitar Centers, I train Sweetwater, I train Ash. I'm training at a company called Z Sounds in a few weeks, which is in Chicago. They're online only retailer. So I go in there and train. So, but I used to be out every week or every other week. Now it's been like 1 week a month right now. Then if the summer comes, there'll be more travel.
Right.
But anyway, I want to share something with you here.
Absolutely.
So, because I've been in the Denver music scene for like 42 years, and when I started playing, original music was very limited here.
Right.
And I started playing in these bands that played only originals, and we go into these clubs that played regular top 40 stuff, whatever, and we play originals, and wow, the club would slowly change. So for years, that's all I did. So this is all within the last year. The Denver mayor, the mayor of Denver, proclaimed me a Bob Rupp Day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is by the mayor of Denver.
That's badass.
At my own day. Okay, that was pretty cool. That was a ceremony and everything.
What's the date?
April 9th.
So April 9th is Bob Rupp Day in Denver.
I'm sorry. December 9th. I'm sorry.
December 9th.
So then I have really good friends of mine that work in Antarctica. They're those people who get down there for like 8 months.
Right.
And so one friend of mine was a drummer, and he took my Vader sticks down to the exact South Pole.
I saw that picture.
Yeah, that's the exact South Pole. And that's the first time that's ever happened, and probably the last. So then, last weekend, because once again, of all the work I've done in the Denver music scene, between Rupp's Drums and all the bands I was in, and I used to put on big festival concerts, I did 10 or 11 festival concerts, and then I did a lot of club shows. Colfax Avenue in Denver is one of the longest avenues in the world. It has all these clubs. I used to play every club up and down Colfax. And so they have a Colfax Avenue Museum. They just opened up 2 weeks ago, and they inducted me into the Museum Hall of Fame. This is kind of hard to see, but it's my name, my Vader stick, and my hands in cement. See if you can see that.
Oh, very cool. That is awesome.
Cool?
Yep.
Cool? That was last weekend. So The problem is here's part of the problem. I've done a whole lot of interviews recently with drum magazines, blogs like this, because when I got cancer like 4 years ago, my time was limited.
Right.
I was kind of given 2 years to live, kind of, and here I am 4 years later, doing really well, alive and well.
Right.
And so initially, people wanted to get to me because they thought my time was running out. It was true. I did a NAM into the first NAM I went to after I'd gotten sick. I shouldn't have gone to because I was still pretty sick, but I went. I went to say goodbye to everybody because I figured I wouldn't last past April. And so the NAM committee pulled me into this room and did a 2-hour interview with me like we're doing right now, just to get my story into their archives.
That's crazy.
Crazy. But, I'm a real positive guy. I'm one of these guys, and I'm not going to get into a cancer thing, but if you get cancer, listen to your fucking doctor. I have a lot of friends that have died doing holistic stuff, what I call hippie crap, and I was a hippie at one time. Nothing kills cancer except chemo and radiation, period.
Right.
And I believe me, I've become an expert on this. When I got sick, I was like, holy shit, here I am. I was as bald as you were at one time. I was that even balder. I lost I lost everything, man. Eyelashes, eyebrows. I have barely any chest hair. I have no armpit hair right now. But man, when I got sick and I got that sick and that bald, I thought I was doomed. And then all of a sudden, I started getting better. And my hair started growing back. Now I still have some bald spots, but I had lots of radiation shot into my brain that fried my hair. And I had a lot of chemo that made me, I lost a whole lot of weight from the chemo because you don't eat. But I hired a personal trainer now. I'm moving more. I've got a stationary bike upstairs I get on every day and ride. Because I don't want to die. I don't want to die a weak guy. And a lot of people just give up. And then this guy, he ain't giving up. Fuck cancer. Full speed, jam the torpedoes, full speed ahead is my theory.
Well, and that's a good theory. And I remember while I'm looking at your pretty face, I remember when you told me a couple years ago when everything went down, one of the things you told me, and you were adamant about it, you said, and I think if I quote this correctly, because I've got a new phone since then, but I think in a text you said, don't you fucking treat me any different.
Yeah, I know.
And I texted you back. I texted you back and I said, I fucking won't.
Yeah, right. Well, for the first year, barely anybody knew. I called key figures in my life, obviously my family and my close friends. And then some of the rock stars I've been around for years and years, like Bozio and guys like that. I called them and told them directly. Like Greg Bissonette, the weekend after I had gotten diagnosed, Greg Bissonette was in town doing a clinic that I'd set up. So he and I and Jim Uding from Dixon Drums all went to lunch. And I told Greg, I said, look, I'm going to tell you something that no one else in my industry knows. And I told him what was wrong with me. Right. And he's like, I've known Greg for like 35 years. He's like, oh my God. And so that night at the clinic, I was sitting at the bar with my wife drinking water, because I just quit drinking beers completely, drinking water. And Greg goes, I'm going to bring up one of the most famous guys in the state to play some drums. And I'm looking around going, who's that? He goes, Bob Rupp. I'm like, what? What? So I went up there, and there was 2 drum kits set up on stage that were set up like I do. Right. And I went, oh. So I sat down in the one closest to me, and Greg goes, just start a groove, and we'll change it up. So I started this very kind of fat backbeat thing. And then Greg goes, we're going to switch kits. I'm like, what? And I had to go, 1, get up, 2, 3, 4, boom, and sit down, run over the other kit, sit down, and he jumped on my kit. It was like, I have a video of it. It was amazing. And so he was very supportive. Problem with a lot of people knowing you have cancer is that everybody wants to be a part of your healing. Right. They do. Everybody has some secret that, my uncle had this, and here's what he did. And so-and-so had this, and here's what he did. I'm not knocking anything. People can believe in whatever they want to believe in, and so be it. If you feel that makes you feel beat the cancer, more power to you. Right. I believe in my doctors, because those guys know what they're doing. My doctor saved my life. When I got first diagnosed, I was probably a month away from dying, and I first went in, and they saved my life. They got another year out of me, and they sent me off somewhere else. It's another specialist, and I'm there every third Monday getting chemo, and they saved my life again.
Damn.
If I hadn't done anything, I would have died.
You wouldn't be here.
And I listen to you. Anybody out there listening, do what your doctor says. If you don't go to the doctor, you die. That simple.
Well, true. It's, the odds are not in your favor if you do nothing.
No, I mean, everybody has their own thing. I got friends that just, they pray and they have their little prayer groups. You're still going to die.
Yep.
I got one of my wife's customers, she's a hairstylist, gave me a bag of dirt from some Indian reservation like in New Mexico or something, and it was holy dirt. Now look, the holy dirt I know is in my backyard where my dog crap. I go back there and I go, holy shit, That's the only holy dirt I know. And the label said, don't eat this dirt. And I'm like this, what? Or don't drink this dirt. Oh shit. Like what? And then it says, rub dirt on the cancer. It's in my brain. What's wrong with you? And so, but people, they give you these weird things. A drummer who makes a custom drum in our industry, I'm not going to mention his name or his drum company, he makes a nice custom drum. And I ran into him at a Styx show, and he brought me and Todd Zuckerman, he brought each of us a Indian feather and a seashell, and it rolled up in a leather cloth of some sort. And he gave this big speech to Todd and a big speech to me, and he was all drunk out of his mind. It was crazy. And I'm not going to Todd and I was like this. What is going on? But you had to like get involved with it because you didn't want to insult the guy.
Right.
He was drunk, and my people. You're a white guy from the suburbs. What do you mean you're people? But whatever. And so he presented us with a feather that represented life or something. I don't know what. And no, it was a bald eagle feather. I'm like, where do you get a bald eagle feather? Where are you pulling feathers on a bald eagle? What's wrong with you? And then he had a little seashell that had been, washed through the oceans for probably, 500,000 years or so. And he goes, and this seashell, whatever it is for life, he goes, just keep this with you at all times. I'm like, I'm going to throw this out the window of the car when I'm leaving Red Rock. I'm throwing it out the window. I mean, dude, and everybody's got a solution for me, and that's okay. You have to welcome it. You have to bite your tongue because they think they're doing you good. And
absolutely.
But all you're doing is driving me crazy because I know it's not going to work. You spend all this time on getting fucking bald eagle feathers. What the hell? If you want to help, you donate to a cancer society, charity. That's what you do.
No, fair enough. I just thought it was funny because that was when you told me that was one of the first things you said. You said, "Don't you fucking treat me any different."
Yeah, I know.
And I haven't, but I did manage to piss you off because I was giving you shit about being bald, how bald is beautiful, and you weren't having that though.
No. I'm not a good-looking bald man, and I had gained. I've always been around 150, 145 my weight, and I went up to 185 for now. I was a pudgy fucker. I looked like Uncle Fester, walking around, and then so that's when I was really pissed off at how I looked because I was never heavy. But they give you steroids so you don't have a stroke, and so I was on heavy steroids. And I went to Nam all pudgy and Carmine a peaceful and stuff. He goes, "When did you get fat?" I've always been like skinny guy. I said, "Carmine, it's the steroids. I told you over the phone it's the steroids." "Oh yeah, right." But I had to explain. And I was wearing a hat because I'd lost all my hair and I wasn't used to being bald yet. So I was wearing hats, and so that's when I looked the goofiest. But I got through it, and I'm fine. My hair's growing back, and my weight's down to where it should be. I started. Problem is people don't eat. Once they get on cancer, they lose their appetite.
Right.
So the steroids got me bigger, knowing I'd lose a lot of weight, which was good. So they pumped me up to 185 and they took me down to 140. Wow. I had to go shopping all the time. My feet don't fit anymore, honey.
I'm tired of all this shopping shit. Well,
Yeah.
as far as you look now, I have a mini tradition on my show. You ready?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're so cute.
That's your tradition every time we talk on the phone.
Well, there's that too.
There's that.
There is that. So, dude, I wanna say thank you for a couple things. One, for always being so amazing to me, always putting up with my shitty questions and my silly questions, and for making me a Sabian artist, because that is all your fault. And it's a fault of a good thing. I am so happy with my Sabians. I love them very much.
Well,
so
you're part of the family.
I am.
Like Seven came up to you and said, we're brothers.
Yep.
That's the Sabian attitude. We're all part of the same family. And so here's a side note. If you know any younger drummers that are monsters at their age, get a hold of me. Because I'm looking right now for young drummers, preteen, teen, late teen, and in the early 20s that are monsters, because we need younger players.
Right.
Because if you look at the industry we're in, all the great players from our era and my area back in the 60s are aging.
Yep.
And half the drummer friends I have are from that era,
Yep.
But I'm trying to get new people. I've signed a bunch of bands. I signed the Struts.
Great. Thank you again. That light bulb. Thank you for turning me on to them. They are so fucking good. I did like half of one of my episodes a few months ago was talking about when I went to see them. They were unbelievable. Great band.
They controlled the crowd like this. They walked on the stage and you went, oh, here it comes.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm a big glam fan from the 70s. So I was hanging out with Luke in the green room before he went on one show, and I said, I listened to a lot of Martha Hoople, and I think you probably did too. He goes, don't tell anybody. They were like the best glam band ever. But they are reminiscent of glam and some 80s rock, but they're the best rock band in the world today, aside from the Foo Fighters, is the Struts.
I would agree with that. Their show blew me away. And the Struts, the Foo Fighters took the Struts out on the road with them. So they're touring together. They may not be now, but they will for a minute.
Dave from the Foo Fighters, the drummer.
Taylor Hawkins.
Yeah, the singer.
Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl, I'm sorry. My memory's not that good sometimes because of all the shit that's going on. Dave Grohl recently, in public, called them the best opening band he's ever had.
I saw that. I read that somewhere. I don't remember where I read that, but I read that.
Just great. I have a Struts signed cymbal up in my room because I signed the Struts drummer. I knew I was going to sign him before I saw him live because I'd bought the record, and I was so addicted to it. So when they came on stage, it was like, oh, because he controls the crowd so well with his moves and all the hand stuff.
Oh yeah.
So Geff, the drummer. We went into the green room before he went on, and I looked at him and said, where's the drummer? He goes, right here. You're Geff. You'll be a Sabian artist after you get off stage. He was playing only Zildjian. And so I called our artist guy, Chris Stanky, in the West Coast and said, hey, I got this band called the Struts. They're going to be huge. And just trust me on this. Whenever he comes in, I set him in to get some cymbal, give him whatever he wants. And we did. And now he has the right cymbals he wants. He cracked a couple. I have an autographed cymbal of the whole band up in my office. Nice. I think they're going to be the best rock band in years right now.
I would agree.
Radio's changed, so it's not as much of it out there. You got to find it sometimes.
True. Terrestrial radio has definitely changed, but I would agree with that statement. They're phenomenal. I think they're coming back to Louisville. I want to say in May, the end of May. But no, as far as the Struts, they are awesome, and I will keep my eye out for some young drummers. There's a couple in town that I've been kind of watching anyway, because or you might not know. I don't know if you know. I stopped teaching, right? Yeah. Okay. I thought you knew. I wasn't sure, so I don't see as much of it as I used to. But there's a couple guys in town, so I will send them your way. I'll give them your email address.
At NAMM, I brought in 4 young drummers. They were all sensational drummers that would just sit down and play.
Right.
I brought 4 in at NAMM, and I was at a Sabian Day recently, I forget where, somewhere. And they were talking about this young kid who could play drums like a phenomenon. So they had him up on the screen. They had his videos up on the screen, and we're watching it. And he just happened to walk in the door. They didn't know there's a Sabian guy there. He walked in the door and he walked over to the kit that was set up and started playing. And I was like this. Oh my God! What was his name? Was R.J. Williams, and it was like he was a phenomenon right out of the gate.
Right.
I'm like, you're signed to Sabian. Because that kid is going to be a monster.
Nice. How old is he now?
Well, he's 14.
Oh, nice.
This was recently. This was like 2-3 weeks ago. He's awesome. Just stunningly beautiful drummer.
Oh, that makes me happy when they're that young and they're just mind blowing. That makes me so happy.
Yeah, we brought on 4 from NAMM. So.
Nice. Very cool. Well, dude, I appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me, and I get to see your pretty face.
Oh boy.
I will put if it's cool with you, I'll put your Facebook link in the show notes of this episode so people can follow you and see what you're doing. And
edit it down to the pertinent stuff,
Oh yeah, this show will be like 5 minutes long.
I don't mind talking about my health at all.
Oh,
if
no.
it helps anybody else that's just got cancer, go to your fucking doctor.
And listen to them.
And listen to them and do what they say.
And holy dirt doesn't work.
There's so many more I can talk about, but I'm not going to. There's streams of shit.
Bob, I love your face, man. I appreciate it, brother.
That's great. Great seeing you.
You too, man. I will talk to you soon. Take care.
All right, man. I'll see you later. Thank you.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Hey guys, this is Steve Owens from Fascination Street Podcast here with a very important message. I'm awesome. I bet you thought I was going to say something else, but nope. What's important here is that I am awesome. I have a podcast called Fascination Street, and it allows me to bring to my listeners some of the most fascinating stories and guests. I started this show because I truly believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear those stories. In the short time I've been doing this show, I've interviewed actors, directors, writers, inventors, podcasters, musicians, pro athletes, Olympic athletes, actual war heroes, even a Bond girl and a luthier, whatever the hell that is, and of course, regular people. From people who wanted to be stars but never gave it a real try, to big company CEOs and people who got to meet their favorite president. I love getting to meet and speak with people who have a story to tell. I feel like everyone does, and it's my job to get them to tell it. You never know who my next guest will be. An Academy Award-winning actor, a platinum-selling musician, or your own mother-in-law. But one thing is for certain, you will be fascinated by their story. So come take a walk with me down Fascination Street. You can find this show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and of course, FascinationStreetPod.com.
Well, that's it, kids. That's the show for the week. I hope you guys dug it. Hope you got something out of it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope my drummer buddies geeked out a little bit like I did when I was talking to Bob. He's just a wealth of knowledge, and it's awesome. And like he said to me in a text once, don't you fucking treat him any different. He's an awesome dude. He has kicked cancer's ass. He's kicked life's ass. No grass has grown under his feet, and he should be an inspiration to us all. Me especially, because I love that damn man. He's awesome. So that's it. I'm out of here. I'm going to go do some shit myself. I got more songs to learn and all kinds of good stuff. And again, as I said at the beginning of this, make sure that you keep the ratings and the reviews coming. I appreciate them, and I read them all. You guys are awesome. Thank you again for your support. I'm coming up on a 1.5 years with this show that I didn't think was going to make it past 3 months. So you guys are the bomb, and I appreciate it. And that's it. I'm out of here. And as I say at the end of every episode, go do some shit. Seriously, beat it. Get the fuck out of here. Go practice. Go get round things that take up space, as Bob calls them. I really have the overwhelming desire to go buy another drum kit. So, yeah, you guys should go buy more drums. Buy more gear. Buy more instruments. Go play something. Go learn to play an instrument. Go practice some more. Go do whatever the fuck you got to do. Just go do something. Go do some shit. So until next time, I will talk at you soon.